Alright, so this one over here, you probably already know the name of it. It's a Bradley fighting vehicle. In this case, did you spawn the M3 variant? Let's see, the A3 variant. Yeah, okay. A3 variant. It's quite simple. It is basically an upgraded system. As you can see, it has the reactive armor plating on it. It gives a bit more survivability against anti-tank weaponry and stuff like that. Apart from that, it's basically the same weapon system, same machinery. Well, it's an infantry fighting vehicle. It's as I said, it's basically similar to the Strikers, but it is more. It has a higher armor rating on it, a better weapon system on it, but it can carry less people, and it's also tracked, which is an advantage in rough terrain, obviously. The weight on this thing is about, I think, 28 or something, 28 tons. The speed around, let me think, what was in game terms, like 70, I think it's the maximum speed on like even ground. In rough terrain, it actually goes down more in percentage than the Striker does, which is kind of surprising. Striker has, maintains a high speed no matter what terrain you drive in. The Bradley and the Abrams also, they have the, as it is simulated in the current game, the game doesn't really simulate engine torque that much. The Bradley does have around, I think, 600 or 700 horsepower engine on it, so it's a fairly powerful engine. As you might have noticed, when you drive those things up a hill in the game, they slow down a lot, up to a crawl nearly, especially the Abrams, even though the Abrams has, in comparison, 1500 horsepower. So, it has a friggin' huge engine on it. The problem is it's not properly simulated in armor, so just keep that in mind, that even though those vehicles are tracked and are designed for off-road, and they, can go on rough terrain fairly consistently, any elevation change in the game is a bad thing. You want to keep this thing on even ground as much as possible. All right. So, as I said, Bradley infantry fighting vehicle, around 28 tons, has armament, I believe, up to can defeat up to like 20 or 30 millimeter. I think 30 millimeter rounds. Well, not sustained fire, but a couple of shots will survive. Also, as this variant A3 has, as I said, reactive armor plating on it, so it's has high survivability against anti-tank weaponry, like AT rounds or heat rounds. The primary armament of this one is a 25 millimeter Bushmaster cannon. The Master can fire two different round types. One is the AP FSDS, armor piercing, fin stabilized discarding sabo round, basically armor piercing round, and it also has a HEIT round, high explosive incendiary tracer, which is used against infantry or soft targets like UAZs, trucks, whatnot. You can even use those against BRDMs and BTRs to fairly good effect, because you take out the wheels usually and mess up the vehicle. You might not penetrate the passenger compartment, but you make it combat ineffective. What else does it have? It has a tow launcher on it. You see that little that big box on the top. It fires tow missiles. Where's that? Tracked optically wire guided, some weird shit like that. So it's a wire guided missile system. So it's not fire and forget, or it doesn't lock onto a target or something like that. So you have to fire it, and you have to keep tracking the target, because the missile will go after where you basically aim it. Also, you might want to steer clear of any obstructions in the way, like trees, walls, and power lines, anything like that, because it might interrupt the or it might destroy the wiring, and that will make the missile go somewhere else. Okay, what else? It usually also sports a coaxial 7.62 millimeter machine gun, a standard armament. On most armored vehicles, they usually always have some sort of machine gun on them, for anti-infantry purposes and also for anti-air purposes, or limited anti-air purposes. The Bradley also comes in a different variant, which is called the Linebacker, which has also the 25mm Bushmaster on it. It has a slightly different fire control system in real life, not in the game, which is designed for aerial targets. So it has like limited radar capability. It has a tracking radar on it, and has a calculating computer for aerial targets. Also, the traverse speed, I believe, on the turret is slightly higher. Not quite sure on that. It also has, the biggest difference is it doesn't have a tow launcher on it. It has a Stinger launcher on it against air targets, obviously. Okay, passenger or crew, 3 people: driver, commander, gunner, and passengers are 6, I believe, depending on the variant. I believe this one has passengers, right, Godhead? Yeah. All right. So it doesn't contain a full squad, because usually how it works is a mechanized squad is smaller because it has a mounted element and a dismounted element. So you have the 3 crewmen inside the vehicle, and then you have the dismounted, the 6 people mounted, and those are the infantry. And you basically can count the Bradley fighting vehicle as a separate fire team, so to speak. All right, it's like the 3rd fire team of the squad. Okay. Yeah, that's basically it about the Bradley. Any questions about that?